Hey guys, it's a little windy out here. I apologize for the wind noise, but we just got out here to Mr. Dave's. Here's the old 359 that we got to work on today. This truck is sold. There's a couple of things that he told the new owner that we get taken care of for him. It's nothing too complex. The truck does run. Currently it has a bunch of air leaks, so it won't build air. And we got to put a fifth wheel plate on it. I believe he said the throttle linkage or the throttle pedal doesn't work either, so we got to look at that. That's not very high on the priority list right now. We want the truck to build air, and I got some things to move around. But here she is. Should be a pretty fun little day. These old Pete's are pretty sweet. I dig them. There's some other cool shit out here that we'll get to see eventually. Like this excavator I started working on a few months ago, and then I got put in hold. We got some old Mogs. That's going to be a fun project. Not one, but two. See him peeking back there. So it should be pretty cool. I'm going to get the truck, I guess, opened up and kind of assess the situation on what I got to do here today. Open up the service truck, get some tools out. You go see if the shop here is open. And we'll just get after it. I'll be bringing you guys along for most of this. I'm not gonna time lapse it or just record everything, but I'll bring you in for some key moments, and we could check out this old Pete. All right, guys, I had to put my coveralls on. The wind out here is a bit brutal. It's way colder here than it is at home. But here's the old inside of this old Pete. Here's the throttle pedal we gotta deal with. The pivot's locked up. It looks like there's a furry critter on that side. Cool old Pete. Make a nice project for this kid, hopefully. I hope it is what he wants it to be. So I got the shop all opened up. I found the list of things that Mr. Dave wants me to do. I'm just gonna look over the truck here a little bit, and then we could kind of assess the situation. I know it's missing an air tank, and they did this to try to get the truck to build air. There's a few other leaks. I'm ready to get that, take a peek at all that and see what we can come up with. He did mention something about radiator brackets, so I'll have to check that out. I just don't know if this hood has any cables on it, so I'm kind of afraid to open it, but we will find out here in a minute. Well, there were cables on it, although they're not correct. Keeps the hood from falling off. So this is probably what everybody wants to see. First gen 3406. How many of you guys knew that the early cats were white? That seems to be few and far between. Like, what? What do you mean it's not cat yellow? I just wanted to share that bit of information really quick. I'm going to start looking around a little more, try to assess the situation. I really don't know where to start or how involved he wants to get, or if these are just end up being false promises to the new owner. But here you go on the pump. Caterpillar. It's pretty cool. Here's another quick little tech tip for all you mobile mechanics or mechanics in general working out in the weather. These little cloth gloves, it's like an inspection glove or something along those lines, make a world of difference. You put these on, and then you put your rubber or nitrile work gloves on over, and they actually keep your hands warm. It's crazy, but it works awesome. Tech tip of the day. All right, guys, we got the throttle pedal for the air brake, the plunger soaking in some penetrating oil. We got a portion of the brake pedal pivot itself freed up. We got the throttle valve soaking in penetrant also. So we gotta move on. We gotta cut these fifth wheel rails off because they have to get put on the Pete, so this plate can get put on the Pete. So we're gonna get those cut off now while we're waiting. There we go, guys. One rail's cut. Let's grab a hammer. Bada bing, bada boom. I'm gonna do the other one and then we'll get over back on the Pete. Alright guys, we got some mystery hardware here. Nothing great. I hope it works. It's like a hodgepodge of randomness. But the good bolt pins are locked up. That shop isn't open right now. So I was digging around in some buckets and this is what I found. Now again, this truck's not going to be worked like this. It's just to transport and keep the fifth wheel plate bolted down. So hopefully we get a couple holes that line up here and we can get this baby on here. Alright, go for something in the middle. Right. Man, that's slim pickings, huh? Might just end up doing this one. There's the two. I'll hold the plate on. I brought a real wrench instead of a crescent wrench. This one out. There we go. One rail on and done for now. Let's go do the other side. Nice. Look at this chamber. Woo! For lack thereof. Good thing it's just a pancake. I'm sure that's an air leak, but bam! So this diff had a pinhole in it. The owner knew about it. He asked if we could smear some epoxy on there so I didn't have to worry about water on the way home. You know, this mud flap's been living over top of this diff for a while. Well, I just hit it with the wire wheel a little bit to smear some epoxy on there, and look at that. Big old hole, new pinhole. I'm gonna have to reassess the situation, but it'll be fine. We'll get her all slathered up and away we go. Meow. Alright guys, we got the air hose all run out here. I'm gonna try to get some air in this air system and see if we can get any of these leaks under control so the truck will build air. It no longer has a wet tank. That was that pipe manifold I showed you this morning. So we're gonna come over here to the secondary and I don't know, probably end up pulling this drain out because I think that would be the easiest to tap into. So I'm gonna go over into the service truck and dig through my fittings and see what I have in here. I don't really have a lot. I have a general hodgepodge that sometimes I can make work. But we might have to dig through Mr. Dave's hodgepodge of stuff too. See what we got. Those are all caps and plugs. Oh, what's this? What do we got in here? Oh yeah, look at that. We got stuff we could use in here. Perfect. So while I was digging in the truck, looking to see where my air pressure regulator is, I realized I don't have one. At least not on the truck. But I did find my glad hand. So we're gonna go over to the vise and I'm gonna steal the shutoff valve off of it. And that'll make airing up the truck a little easier. I don't know, grab a pair of channel locks or something. What do we got in here? Some Nippics. Let's see if we can get this off. Oh yeah, look at that. Easy peasy Japanesey. That's easy enough. Trust me. You always want to close your vise, especially on a service truck. This one doesn't have a stop in it, and I've almost lost the jaw. I'll get the strain valve out of here. If it'll come out. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Like it was meant to be. I'll get the shutoff valve in. We should be good to go. Grab the air hose. And we got air. That doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Well, that's not good. Well, that was way too easy. So that was my mistake. The shutoff valve on the air compressor was turned off. So we should be good now. Let's get you guys set back up. We can listen to all the air noises and see what happens here. Crack her a little bit, let it do its thing. Gotta find out though. Let her rip tater chip. Oh, I hear a leak in the distance. Where's that? Where's this coming from? Is that out of the air dryer? No. Up there? No. Look at there. From the seat. Well, that's easy. I'll just block all this shit off. I go grab some vice grips. Alright guys, I ended up grabbing a zip tie instead of some vice grips. Because this truck has to be transported this way. So I'm just going to fold it over. And then the kid can worry about it when he gets home. We're just trying to get a little bit of brake in this truck. Right now she's just free willy. Alright, that should do it for right now. Let's go back over, fire up the tank, or pressurize the tank, I guess. See what kind of air leaks we have now. Get you guys back up and let it rip. Okay, we got another leak off in the distance that I hear. I'm going to try to get a little more pressure in the tank. I could try to find this one. Oh man, I'm sure it's under the truck. Never anything easy. Oh, it might be off the shifter. You can see the, I don't know if you can see it, but there's some like little cotton fuzzes in there being blown around. Ooh, it's a mess. Well, I'm gonna have to get under the truck and see what I find. Please hold. Alright guys, we chased down the problem, got the cardboard creeper out. So let's get under here. So this little line right here, we're gonna disconnect. So what that does is it runs up to the transmission and feeds the transmission with air to the solenoid that controls the high-low. All the little tiny air lines are broken. We got a massive air leak. So the truck's already in low range. We just want to be able to move it around the yard, get it on and off a trailer. So the easiest thing to do right now is just to pull the feed line off and just keep the transmission in low range. So let's get this all disconnected. As you can see, this one right here. So I'm going to try to get the fitting out and just put a plug in the tank. And then we can test for more air leaks. Alright guys, I got that fitting out. We need a 1/2-inch pipe plug to stick inside that tank. I don't want to break up my kit, but these air tanks here, I brought out for Mr. Dave because he needs them for another truck he has. So, since they're already his, and that Peterbilt's his, I'm going to just use one of his plugs. If they come out easy. Because they might not. Let's try this middle one. Oh yeah, there we go. Sweet. Back under the peat. Alright guys, so we got the line off. We took the fitting out of the tank and I put it back on the line tight. So when the new owner starts working on this truck, he has the fitting to put back in the tank. But let's see, let's put this out of the way. We got this plug in the tank so we can try to air everything up and chase more leaks. Let's see. Oh, we got something in the distance. Something else in the distance. Let's get a little more volume in here and then we'll see if we can figure that out. I'm assuming it's most likely going to be an airbag. I was figuring we're going to have to cap that off anyways. Well, that's actually not bad at all. We could probably live with that leak and have air to the truck. It might have just been a check valve. I mean, we definitely don't have air to the bags. Well, let's keep going. If it's just something small like that, we could live with it. Well, this is kind of exciting. We still got air going into the tank, as you can hear. Yeah, we got just a little leak. Here we go. Now we got it. And that's where it's at. I'm gonna put my money on that it's the bag. Oh yeah, most definitely. Check that out. Right there. Although that's not where we're hearing it from. Could just be the leveling valve, huh? No, it's not coming out the exhaust. Oh. What's this? So that line ended up being the feed line for the airbags coming off the leveling valve over into the distribution block. So I got a couple fittings here and a piece of line after rummaging for the last half hour or so. through these cut truck chassis, and we're gonna try to put this together. So let's see what happens. Again, this is only temporary, right? I'm just trying to make the truck movable so we can load it and it can get to its new owner's home. I'm normally not this big of a hack. Hopefully we can get this guy started. So corroded. It has to start crooked. Oh, there we go. Awesome. Let's walk this in there. Cool. Now we got some fancy blue airline off another truck chassis over there. Bam. Now it should work. Let's go air the truck up again. Nice. Everything's all happy back here now. No more leaks. No airbags trying to inflate yet, though. I'm sure that's going to be a slow process. These Pete's normally are, especially the old ones. I'm going to wait a few minutes, assess our situation, and then we'll get back to that throttle pedal. Hopefully we can free that linkage up, but it's not looking very good at all. Not at all. Alright guys, we came back up here to the throttle pedal since it's been soaking all day. Got the big pry bar out and kind of just got it wedged in here. Not to, you know, pry to break, but we kind of needed the length. But I started walking it a little bit, and I don't know if you could see that, but the whole floor is flexing. So I really don't think that this pedal is going to free up, which kind of sucks. That was one of the big to-dos that they wanted to try to do. Unfortunately, I just don't think it's going to happen. And I need another person to actually pull the pedal out because someone used machine bolts and machine screws, and I can't hold the nut and unscrew them from the top at the same time. So we might go back inside the cab and play around with it a little bit. Maybe I can get a crescent wrench on the pedal and just try to walk it and wiggle it a little bit. And maybe that'll do it. Alright guys, I screwed around with that throttle pedal for like an hour now. We found some of this Aerochrol oil. This stuff's awesome. It's more or less acetone and transmission fluid, but it creeps and frees everywhere. So I soaked it in this. Against my better judgment, I drilled a relief hole through the pedal to the pin, and I filled it up with this as well. We did get a bunch of rust chunkies out of there, so I'm not being very hopeful that something will happen. But we wasted enough time on that. We got to get to something more important, and we have to fab up some kind of generic radiator support bracket here to hold the radiator in place. Mr. Dave told me yesterday that I'm pretty sure that he started to make something, so we got to try and find that, get it on here. And this is pretty much the best it's going to be. I got to remember to get my shutoff valve off the air tank, and it's going to be moving this to his laydown yard and then waiting a couple days for the guy to come pick it up. So I'm going to go see if I can find these brackets and we get this mounted. Alright guys, we got a couple pieces of cut angle iron here to make a radiator support bracket. Here's the strut rod. So the bracket's going to sit something like this, and then the strut rod pokes into it. So we're going to mark some holes, go over to the vise, get the drill, and then put it back together. Alright guys, we're over here at the vise. Got the piece of angle iron in it. Our holes are marked out. We got our super sweet Matco step bit. And we're going to drill some holes. Man, now I'm all covered in chips. That's cool. We got some nice clean holes. And go get this baby mounted up. Alright guys, we got our bracket here. Let's get her installed, and then this radiator's all supported. And we're pretty much done for the day. Start the nut on the strut rod. Then we're gonna flip this up and get her going. Well, I guess these holes aren't quite ½ inch, huh? The radiator. Alright guys, I'll be right back. Alright, the original hole in the radiator bracket isn't quite a ½ inch hole, so we're just going to blow that out a little bit. There we go. Now our bolt should fit just fine. Lift the bracket, just like so. Get our nut started. It's a lock nut, so it's going to be fun. There we go. Go ahead and run it home. Perfect. Now this inner one's for the hood cable. We'll have to do this by hand. Awesome. The only thing that's left is going to be adjusting the strut rod, but I can't do that until we get the other side on. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done and see where we end up. Alright guys, Mr. Dave just got here. He got us some JB Weld epoxy. We're going to get that diff all sealed back up. But what in the hillbillies he got going on over there in that truck? Look at all them fucking drums. I don't get it. But remember, it's all treasure. And there you go, guys. We got a big old slop of JB Weld epoxy on that rear diff. But you know what? There's no more holes. Okay, we're getting ready to fire up the old cat and this 359 Pete to see if those air leaks that we fixed today were enough to shut the pump off. Before, it was leaking so bad it wouldn't build up enough air to shut off the injection pump. So we had a pair of vice grips down there on the rod. And we were doing it manually. But that's a pain in the butt when you got to open and close the hood all the time. So this should be kind of neat. Hopefully it works. Pretty intense. The old girl started, but look at a fuel smoke show. That 3406A might be a little cold-hearted. Seems to run pretty good though. Alright guys, and with that smoke show, we're going to end it there. Just remember, kindness is free. It doesn't cost you anything to be a decent person. And try to inspire someone. Today I hope I inspired you. And someone's going to end up with this beautiful 359 Pete. Thanks guys.